From RNN, this is RFL. News, analysis, perspective, opinion. This is Richard French, live.
Welcome back. Hopes that a deal to get U.S. troops out of Iraq in 3 years would be quickly approved by the Iraqi parliament, they appear to be fading. Despite pleas from Prime Minister Maliki, debate on the status of forces agreement that has resolved into brawls between lawmakers. Meanwhile, protesters opposed to the deal filled the streets of Baghdad this weekend. Many are loyal to the anti-American cleric Muqtada al-Sadr, who has threatened to end his militia ceasefire if the deal is passed. And another troubling sign, Kurdish leaders in the north have been buying up weapons and say they want no part of a strong, centralized Iraqi government. All this means the status of U.S. troops in Iraq are still up in the air. Just one more burden for the families of those soldiers to bear. But there's new technology that can help bring them closer together, even from halfway around the world. Our Carolyn Rowe joins us now with the details.
Well, Karen, behind every headline we read about soldiers being wounded, killed, or shipped overseas, there's a family left behind that must soldier on without them. To many, these are soldiers fighting for our country, but to some, they are more than that. They are mothers, fathers, husbands, wives, sons, and daughters. And when they go away to war, it takes a big toll on the loved ones they leave behind.
We're just finding deeper and deeper issues happening with families.
Mental health professionals gathered at Mercy College last week for a workshop about helping military families deal with the all too common issues, including substance abuse, depression, and divorce.
There are issues of loyalty. Did the partner who remains home find it necessary to develop a new relationship? There are issues of parenting that have now been given to grandparents or aunts and uncles where both mom and dad have been deployed.
Dr. Judith Landu, the keynote speaker at the event, says things are different for those serving today than they were in wars past, when families would wait weeks for a letter. Today, with the internet and teleconferencing, many soldiers can communicate with their loved ones almost on a daily basis from the war zone. She says while that has its advantages, it creates obstacles for the warriors as well.
A child with a broken leg, a kid who's struggling at school, somebody who's being bullied, a wife who's depressed or not sleeping or is having job problems. How do they, knowing all those details, how do they flick the switch and remain undistracted and able to fight?
And of course, troops today often coming home struggling to readjust to life back with their families, only to be shipped out again a short time later.
Multiple deployments exacerbate the problem, and we now are faced with something arising called Baghdad junkies, which is some military are choosing to go back for a bunch of psychological reasons. Many families tell me that it's after the second deployment that their family really comes unglued.
Now, Dr. Landau says her goal is to empower the mental health professionals with the knowledge they need to assist these military families, because she says it's our country's duty to help those that have served. Karen?
Carolyn, thank you. Coming up next, the result